The easiest way to get your 5-number summary of this data for your box and whisker plots is to use the percent cumulative frequency and an Excel spreadsheet. So the first thing you want to do is actually find cumulative frequency. So if we put that in this column, this is the beginning frequency. So in the group or age group 0 to 4 years, we have 226,319. Now, cumulative frequency means a running total. Yes, in the next group from the 5 to 9-year-olds, we have 217, but we're doing 1,000. We're doing a running total here. So we want the total of both of these groups. This is a cumulative frequency. So this is going to be the 217,000 and add on to the 226 we've already got. So now up to 0 to 9 years we have 443,617. This is a cumulative frequency. We're accumulating. So the next one then we're going to add on the 10 to 14-year-olds. We're going to add them on to the group that we already have. So in the 0 to 14-year-olds, so accumulating cumulative frequency then is 664,000 exist within that, so we're accumulating the frequency. Now the quick way to do that in the spreadsheet is to click on the formula you want, change the cursor to the small plus and drag. So by the end of it we have all of them, the 3,304,818 people within these age realms. Now the next thing we need to do is turn this into an actual percent cumulative frequency, and that's the percent out of the total. So how many as a percent do the 0 to 4 represent out of the total population that we've been looking at? So it is equal to the number of the people in 0 to 4 divided by the total number. This is the total number. It's a cumulative frequency, and we want to turn it into a percent, so we're going to multiply it by 100. So in other words, 0 to 4-year-olds represent 6.8% of this group of people that we're looking at, whatever we're looking at. So that's our percent cumulative frequency. Now we want to repeat that for each of these. Now you can do that by doing the math again. You can type this one in, divide it by the total, and multiply by the 100 to get to a percent. You can keep doing that. If you want to click and drag, you need to make sure that you're always dividing by the total. So we always need to be dividing by C17 because that's the total. So to lock this in, what you can do is you can put in the double dollar signs, and you do this with the F4 button on your keyboard. So you have $C, $17 in this case, that's where mine is. So I'm locking that one in. I want that one to stay. It doesn't change the answer, but what it does when I click and drag that is that it makes sure that every other number is divided by C17. I've locked C17, whereas each time I've changed the C's. So how do you know you did this right? Your final group will be 100%. It's a cumulative frequency. Now your 5-number summary is easy. It's your minimum. So your minimum group is 0 to 4. Your maximum group is 70 to 74. So that's where your minimum and your maximum are. Now remember, Q1 is 25%, median is 50%, and Q3 is 75%. So where is the 25% for Q1 hen? Here is 27%. So up until at the end of the last 14-year-old, we've only accounted for 20% of the population. At the last 19-year-old, we've accounted for 27% of the population. So somewhere in here exists our 25th percent person. So they exist within that realm. So Q1 exists within there. We want 50% of the population. So again, see the 43% here, that's your 29-year-old. The last 29-year-old represents the 43rd percent of the population, but we want 50%, so somewhere in here. So this one goes all the way up to 50.55, so 50% would exist in this realm. So this is going to be our median. It's a group value, and then Q3 is 75% of the population. So here's 79%. So the last 54-year-old is 79.9% of the population. The last 49-year-old is 72%. I don't want to know where the 75th percent is. Well, the 70 25th percent person is somewhere in this realm. So that's our Q3. Now you use your usual internet box and whisker plot generator and put in these 5 number summaries, and that's how you'll end up with your box and whisker plots for each of the data sets that you have. Now, your minimum Q1, median Q3, and maximum are going to be within a group. So if you want to actually make that even more accurate in terms of an actual value, which you don't really need to do, but if you want to, then you're going to have to plot this out and find the actual value that is represented by 25%. So if I was plotting it out, I would go for the middle of each of these to get my plot. So the middle of 0 to 4 is 2-year-old, the middle of 5 to 9 is a 7-year-old, then we've got the 12, the 17, and we keep going like that. 72-year-old. We want to plot the cumulative frequency because that's what we actually want to read off. So we're going to have to paste these over here. Now we've pasted them. Notice that it's gone kind of a bit haywire there. We just want to paste the values. So we're going to get a plot of this. So remembering that these points going to be at our middle points. It's still not the best, but it's a little bit better. We'll just go for just a scatter plot. You can put the line on, don't have to put the line on. I would go for a trend line. So we want to put in a trend line to get, it's pretty much linear, so we'll go with that, and we'll make sure that we get an equation. The equation is what's going to enable you to work out when y is 25%, when y is 50%, and when y is 75%. It's going to allow you to get a more accurate picture of the actual x value, rather than just plotting on your box and whisker plots the middle value. It'll allow you to be more accurate, but it's totally up to you whether you actually go for that accuracy or not, because you're talking about huge numbers of data here, so it's not going to matter if you're within a group. I would just go with the middle of the group value when I was plotting my box and whisker plots, but it's up to you on the level of difficulty that you want to show.